Happy Monday, girlfriend, because the SEC just issued a new Wells notice to Robinhood. Yeah, unregistered securities. Well, SEC, why did you give them then the proper license to operate if you were just going to go after them in a few years? We're also going to talk about bots being the main driver behind stablecoin transactions and Ripple SEC updates, along with a little bit of XRP price talk at the end. And for real, why does the SEC have to piss in my Cheerios on a Monday morning? Mondays suck balls to begin with, and now I gotta deal with more SEC action. And I'm just giving you a fair warning on this Monday that this video is gonna get very colorful with some very raunchy analogies. So if you're a little fluffy bunny, turn it off. But if you want the dirty, real news with some naughtiness thrown in, keep watching. Aunt Lynn says, Klaus, I challenged Elizabeth Warren to an MMA-style cage match. Haven't heard back yet from that Pocahontas bitch. Happy Friday, my friend. Well, happy Monday to you, Aunt Lynn. I saw your comments and I responded to it. We also got Dirk Diggler. You know the movie where that name comes from? I do. Comment down below if you do. Dirk says, Klaus, just got my Portillo's order in the mail. Gonna make a beef in your name, bud. Oh my gosh. We're talking about Portillo's. Are you serious? For those of you that live in the Chicago area, Portillo's is like the gateway to like food heaven. I don't know how else to explain it. Portillo's, they'd have like these shakes and malts and Italian beefs and combos and all sorts of good stuff. So if you're ever in Chicago area, go to a Portillo's. You will not be upset. Oh yeah, and get one of their malts. It's like the best shit ever. Bitcoin sitting at 63,624, ETH 3104, BNB close to touching 600. H-bar, I see a girlfriend bucking the trend at 11.5. You know we're going to be talking XRP price, which is sitting at 53 cents right now. XLM, Coinbase lawsuit, unregistered securities. Yeah, I'll have that video linked at the end because now it's everyone wants to take a bite out of everything. XLM melting faces, 11 cents. It's from Visa. I thought I would share this with you because this is really interesting. This talks about some barriers for crypto usage. And then we're going to get into the SEC Wells notice with Robinhood, which really pisses me off this morning. And then we're going to talk about some Ripple SEC case updates. Visa. Bots are driving 90% of stablecoin transactions. Fewer than 10% of these transactions actually come from genuine users, according to a new metric from Visa and Allium Labs, showing that only 149 billion of the 2.2 trillion actually came from real people. The findings were flagged in a report on Sunday, May 5th evening by Bloomberg News, which also comments a bunch of people talking about why. This is why. I wanted to bring this up because people are like, well, adoption, why aren't more people using crypto? Listen to this. It says that stablecoins in a very nascent moment in their evolution as a payment instrument. That's not to say they don't have long-term potential, because I believe they do. But the short-term and mid-term focus needs to be sure on making Rails work much better. It's important to remember that people in the United States are still using checks to pay between 40 and 60% of business payments, which gives you a sense of where it is in the technological adoption. I think that's a really good step, because think about it. If 40 to 60% of people are still using checks for business transactions, well, then gosh, we're way far away, aren't we, when it comes to crypto adapting? Now, Visa's got some really cool analytics if you want to check it out, because guess what? As always, any article you see in this video, along with all my other ones, they will be linked in the description below. So if you want to check out a little bit of Visa action, kind of see which ones are moving, whether it's USDT, USDC, or PayPal's PYUSD, which is a total piece of shit, you're welcome to do it. You could also check out blockchains. Pretty cool stuff, all right? All right. Let's just dig into this. Robinhood gets an SEC Wells notice. The so-called Wells notice from the SEC concerns Robinhood and its cryptocurrencies. In a filing Monday, hey, that's today, that's why you hit the subscribe button, they said they've made a preliminary determination to recommend that the SEC file an enforcement action. A Wells notice gives a company time to get ready for the butt pounding that's about to happen. Listen to this. Dan Gallagher, Chief Legal Compliance and Corporate Affairs Officer at Robinhood, said this: After years of good faith attempts to work with the SEC for regulatory clarity, including our well-known attempt to come in and register, we are disappointed that the agency has decided to issue a Wells notice to us. Gallagher further expressed his confidence in Robinhood's position, asserting that the assets listed on their platform are not securities. Now, very interestingly enough, you had a bunch of things that we were all into taken away from the Robinhood platform. So the SEC and, oh, here you go. Here's that Wells notice for Robinhood. You're totally welcome to read it. Well, anyways, you could go through it. It basically states that their intent is we're going to just stick it to you from behind. You know, what's really messed up about this whole SEC Robinhood Wells notice thing, and it's the same thing with Coinbase. And don't worry, we're going to get into the Ripple XRP news here soon. But the problem we got with this is, remember, the SEC granted them the securities licenses in the first place when they filed. So how is it that Robinhood is like, yo, we're going to tell you exactly how we're going to run our business. We're going to tell you the products we're going to use in our business. And we're going to tell you exactly how we do it. And the SEC is like, oh, okay, cool. How about we give you some licensing and we're going to give you the big thumbs up. And Robinhood is like, oh, well, thank you, girlfriend. That's very nice of you. Thank you for polishing off my knob. Now, here's the problem. Shortly after, well, a few years after, the SEC is like, all those forms you filled out? You remember all those times we were telling you that you were all good and you didn't have to worry? Well, guess what, bitch? We're going to fuck you over. And that's exactly what happened. It's the same thing with Coinbase. Coinbase did the same thing. They filled all of this stuff out. They told the SEC exactly what they're going to be doing with their business, all the selling, all that kind of shit, right? And then the SEC is like, you know how we gave you approval? We're still going to go after you. SEC sends Wells notice to Robinhood over crypto businesses shares plunge 7%. So the SEC is taking on pretty much all of crypto right now and trying to kill it. Speaking of the SEC trying to kill things, well, guess what? We've got some updates today regarding the SEC and the XRP case. Ripple versus the SEC update as of the 6th. Indeed, after the SEC filed its opposition to Ripple's request to strike the declaration by the regulator's witness, basically what happened was this. Andrea Fox did a whole bunch of calculations on some penalties for Ripple, and what they're saying is like, dude, that's kind of an expert testimony, so this isn't the time for that. Well, Ripple responded to that, okay? And here's what Ripple said. As Ripple's lawyers explained, Fox is an expert because she purports to the use of technological or other specialized knowledge to help trier or fact to the understanding of evidence to determine a fact and issue. She does not merely apply basic arithmetic to Ripple's financial records. Rather, she analyzes Ripple's records, third-party evidence, and expert reports, draws inferences and conclusions about those documents, and calculates disgorgement, prejudgment interest, and discount amounts based on her analysis. The agency asserts that because it was reserved the right to submit the declaration of summary witness as opposed to serving a rebuttal report, it could wait until the remedies were basically procedural bullshit. What Ripple is saying is, yo, this was not the time for expert testimony. That was way earlier. So what they're doing is they're fighting the Fox declaration, right? And this lady's reports on what the penalty should be. They're fighting it saying, you know what? This isn't the right time for that. That's an expert witness thing. And you know what? We're going to start seeking some action against that because we don't think that should be allowed. So then what's going to happen is then the SEC is going to respond. And then we're going to hear from the judge. And the judge is going to be like, yo, is this legit or not? Dude, this is an absolute freaking mess this morning. And you know what really sucks? I had a freaking amazing Cinco de Mayo. I had a whole bunch of Jell-O shots. I had a whole bunch of margaritas, a pitcher of margaritas that I shared with my wife. I even had fajitas. I had grilled chicken fajitas though, by the way. It was a lot of fun. Then I go to bed. Still a little bit buzzed, so it was cool. Wake up, this bullshit. The SEC is just trying to wreck crypto, and they are not stopping. So when you watch videos out there from other YouTubers, right? Some of those knob gobblers, some of those chewed lickers that are like melting faces and all that crap, and they're talking about settlement. Dude, the SEC is not going to settlement. They are going for the jugular. Seriously, the SEC is not going to back off of Coinbase. They're not going to back off of Robinhood. They're not going to back off of Ripple. There ain't no settling happening at all. Now, what's good about this, though, we're above 50 cents, and we made it through the weekend. The weekend was piss poor volume, man. The weekend sucked ass with volume. But we're above 50 cents. And it appears that people that are into XRP stacking are going to have a lot of time to stack. And you're like, well, Klaus, what do you mean they're going to have a lot of time to stack? Because when we zoom out here, right, you see all this price action right here? This is court case stacking time. Well, guess what, everyone? We're going to have even more court case stacking time because every one of these little procedural things, there's going to be appeals. There's going to be delays, there's going to be extensions, and there's going to be responses. And this shit is going to drag out forever. And since the SEC asked for $2 billion and Ripple said, go fuck yourself, we'll give you $10 million, the two sides are too far apart. So now you're asking yourselves, well, Klaus, how far apart really is the SEC and Ripple? Well, let's throw a little bit of analogy here, okay? You're hanging out with your wife, and you're like, hey, wife, look, I want some naughty dress-up fun. Let's get really, really kinky and really, really dirty. Daddy's feeling frisky, okay? I'm the SEC. I'm asking for $2 billion. I'm asking for the naughty, kinky stuff. I don't want the usual, missionary. We just kind of do this, and after we're done, we just kind of go to bed and roll. No. Naughty, dirty. Now, the SEC comes back, and the SEC is the wife in this case, okay? The SEC is like, really? That's what you want? Well, here's what I'm going to offer you. Nothing. I might rub up on your junk in the kitchen, maybe tease you a little bit, but I'm not putting out. And so what happens then is we're both this far apart. And you know what happens afterwards, right? That's like Pornhub, okay? Let's just be real here. There's just Pornhub. But the problem is they really are that far apart. You got one side asking for kinky, dirty fun. The other side is like, I don't know, man, dude. Like, I'm not really into, like, activities like that, so you're probably going to have to take care of yourself. Yeah, that's really where we're at right now. And honestly, the SEC is not stopping. In fact, Robinhood tells the SEC their whole business plan, because that's how Robinhood had to get their licenses. Because think, they're an exchange, right? So they had to get some licensing from the SEC. In fact, Robinhood's a publicly traded company, so yes, they're under the umbrella of the SEC. So Robinhood is like, yo, we're going to share with you our whole plan. And the SEC is like, oh, okay, cool. Here's the license. Here you go. Here's your documents. And they're like, oh, well, thank you. Then they're like, oh, you know those documents we gave you because we told you that you were cool? And you're like, yeah, you mean you're going to do the kinky, naughty stuff? They're like, no, we're yanking it away. See, that's the SEC showing up in some naughty, naughty attire. And then as you're sitting there going, this is going to be a lot of fun, the SEC is like, girlfriend, I'm putting my coat back on and I'm getting the out of here. And I'm taking the cat with me. Dude, that's where we're at right now in this crypto world. The SEC is just freaking running amok. And the SEC is going to keep doing whatever the F they want. Because the administration that put Gary Gensler into place is not going to take Gary out. So, if you're doing a bunch of naughty things and no one's slapping your hand and telling you you're bad, you're probably going to keep doing a bunch of naughty things, right? And that's what Gary's doing. See, no one's slapping Gary's hand. No one is telling Gary, you're screwing it up for us. Gary, you're screwing up. No, they don't care. They're like, Gary, actually, we're not going to slap your hand. In fact, we're going to give you more. Let's give you more money. Let's give you more enforcement agents. So the administration that put him into power is letting him do whatever the F he wants. Not only are they letting him do whatever the F he wants, but they're going to finance him to do even more of whatever the F he wants. So when you were sitting there and thinking about some naughty dress-up fun, did you ever think that you'd have to grab the old laptop and take care of it yourself because the SEC was going to be stingy and steal your cat and dog? Ugh. Well, happy Monday, everyone, as the SEC decided to piss in all of our Cheerios.